Greeting viewers, Condenser is back. Today's gonna be episode 5 of my tax-free silver guide. Today we're gonna learn how to set up a beginner node network to support the life skills and build a worker empire. I have a bunch of notes, this is gonna take a little while. I was doing a little bit of fishing before I turned this on. Actually, I will use this fish as an example. Let me bring up the map. Alright, there's my note. So, for this to work and build up a worker empire, you're going to need two things. You're going to need workers, and you're going to need your pets for grinding silver to fund it originally, because you're going to need some silver to get this up and running. And then I will talk about the gear that you're going to need later on in the next video. But for now, we're just going to go into what you need for setting up the nodes that you should get, and the resources that you're going to need to generate. Okay, so step one, you're going to use your energy and whatever CP that you've got from going on questing and just playing the game. I did a video on contribution points. It was a very brief video. I also did a very brief video on energy to kind of give a foundation on, just to touch on these things so I can move through this quicker. Go watch those if you don't know what this stuff is, if you really are new to the game. But moving on, your energy is going to generate a lot of these resources that you're going to need, and then your contribution points are going to go invest into a handful of nodes that are going to generate the rest of the resources you're going to need. So your workers have stamina. Let me bring up the worker menu. They have a stamina bar. You recover it with beer. You can recover it with several other things too. Beer's the cheapest, easiest to make. While I'm there, might as well feed mine. So you're going to need a boatload of beer. And I just spent a ton of time cooking a lot of beer on my, I think I got 750,000 beer. I won't have to cook beer for a good long time, maybe a year. So to start generating that, you want to get a very small worker node system set up to generate as much beer as possible, because one, it's going to feed the rest of your worker node as you get contribution points to branch out. And two, regardless of how simple of a recipe or low level of beer is, it will level your cooking. I leveled my cooking all the way to Guru, mostly on beer, grilled bird meat, vinegar, and pickled veggies. That's 4 low level recipes. Yes, it's a crap ton of cooking, but I like to AFK, so there's that. You want to pick whatever town you're going to be in. Well, I recommend probably Velia to start out up here. It's got most of what you're going to need. If not, Calpheon's pretty good too with with the wheat plantation, because you're going to need a lot of grains. And then you'll have to find a mine around there. I don't really look at this too closely because I have my stuff set up around Heidel, which Heidel has a couple of things. You're going to need an iron. So you're going to need iron, and you're going to need a grain. So to start out, before you do anything else, you eventually will move to Heidel to follow my plan. A lot of people will just leave their stuff set up in Velia, or they're even moving down here to Duvenkroon, the new zone. I would recommend starting here in Velia. Now the nodes that you're going to need to invest in, you're going to start out with not very many workers here, probably 1. So you're going to need to invest in lodging. You don't have to invest everything in lodging, but it's going to take 1 contribution. You're going to get 2 more workers. That's pretty simple. Same with this one. 1 contribution, 2 more workers. So that's 4 workers for 4 contribution. That's pretty good. And you can get a 5th one, so you can get up several. I have a few worker increases on mine, so I end up having 8 in Velia. But you can get 5 to 6 pretty easy for minimal contribution. That's the first thing you're going to do because you're going to need these workers. Second thing you're going to do is come over here to Finto Farm. Invest in it, and then invest in this potato node. You got to get the workers producing potatoes. Potatoes replace the wheat in the recipe. There's another potato one here at this farm. Invest in this farm. Invest in this potato. You're going to need several contributions to do each one of them. But those 2 nodes, get them producing potatoes. That's going to be the foundation. So get the workers, get the grains. Now, the next thing you're going to need is iron. There are several iron nodes around here. There's one over here at Coastal Cave. There's an iron here. Invest in that. Invest in this. I don't have it because I have other iron nodes elsewhere, and I ran out of contribution. I needed the contribution elsewhere, so I refunded it to change my worker nodes a little bit because I'm a little bit past the beginner stage. But to start out, get Coastal Cave. Here's a third farm if you want even more potatoes. Invest in here and invest in this one. So you got a potato here, and potato here. I don't have any more workers. If I manage to get more workers in the city here, and which I don't think there are any. I think there's just those 3 that I am invested in. Yes, just those 3 for workers. So I maxed out at past 6. So I took away the other potato one. But if you want 3 potatoes to start out with, that's perfectly fine. Get the grains flowing. You need a ton of it. Get the iron coming in. You're going to need a lot of iron too. There should be a couple more around here too, somewhere too. That's a copper mine. So this one, no, that's still copper too. I never can remember. There's the other iron. So you can go Coastal Cave and Coastal Cliff. That's 2 iron nodes. If you have the CP to do it, dump both in there and get those 3. 3 potatoes, 2 irons. Get all of that coming in. You want as much as those 2 resources as you can possibly stand. There's one more thing that you need to invest in. I forgot to mention. Find a cheap house around here and you're going to need a... How about we just do this? You're going to need a tool workshop. So you're going to have to invest in 3-2, which means you're going to have to invest in 3-1. Whoops, if I hit the wrong button. So you're going to have to invest in 3-1. Get yourself a little bit more storage, since you're going to have to spend the contribution anyway, and then invest in 3-2 and get the tool workshop going. Now later on you're going to want to probably craft stuff in a higher level tool workshop here. I don't think Velia has any higher ones. It does not. So for now, starting out, this will be perfectly fine. Get the tool workshop. It's going to cost you 3 CP by the time you get the other requirement, because you want to make these intermediate cooking utensils, because they only have 500 durability, but they're going to last you until you can invest in some nodes in Heidel. Heidel has the level 3 workshop, which you're going to use to craft, and if you have the CP to do it immediately, just skip this step and just go to Heidel. Keep your nodes producing the grains and the irons, but come to Heidel, find you a workshop. Tool workshop, you're going to want a level 3. So you can either go here, here, or where I'm at here. It's going to cost you a lot of CP because you got to get 5-1 and 5-2 before you can get this, and over here you got to get all the 8s before you can get to there, and then here you got to get 7, 1, 2, and 3 before you can get here. So if you have the extra CP, by all means do that. It's gonna allow you to make the better cooking utensils, which is going to be the advanced ones, and that's what we're aiming for eventually. The reason you want to get the beer and the iron coming in, the iron is going to be for the cooking utensils. Now those other ingredients listed there I'll talk about here in a second, but the main thing is to get the workers to start pulling in all those resources. Now the last one that you're going to need is the fish. You're going to need a fish node. You can do it out here on these islands. There are nodes out here. I haven't unlocked them. There are nodes around. See, like there's one there that'll do the drying, but you're gonna have to find somebody with a boat to take you out there or swim out there, and I don't recommend swimming, it sucks. So you can get this one here too. You might be able to swim there and then invest in that. But that will get you dried fish. I have my nodes set up way over here at Portaferia. You can see I got a bunch of fish nodes invested in here, and storage is just chock full. Chock full of dried fish. The reason this is important because this is a big ingredient and used in making good feed that will feed your pets, so you don't have to buy it. I mean, you can look, I got 60,000 dried mullets in here. Almost 600,000. So, huge amount. Huge amount, 60,000. It's crazy. Can't even cook all that. But the more towns that you invest in, you're going to have more CP for setting up the workers and the storage. So that's why I recommend starting out with this stuff here, getting the iron and the grains coming in. Now, once you get a stockpile on that, you're going to have to go and use your energy that you've built up playing the game. You're going to gather all the rock nodes that you can find, because you're looking for rough stone, and you're also going to gather all the logs that you can find because you're looking for logs. So you need rough stone and logs to make the cooking utensils. I made another video on how to make the advanced cooking utensils. It's the same for the intermediate ones. You just go to the workshop, look at the ingredients you need, gather them. So you need that. That's the tool you're going to have to use to cook beer down. Now, moving on. We've got the base nodes set up. We've got the tools that you need. And I also went over where to get the gathering things in the other video for making the cooking utensils if you need to know about that. Okay, we're going to go over the recipes that you're going to be making. So if you hit F1, you can bring up the crafting nodes by clicking in this corner. So look up beer. You can use, most of this stuff is substitutable. So like purified water, you can actually get mineral water, which you can buy from a cooking NPC. Velia has one, it's in the inn. You just go in there, find the NPC, and you buy it. Same with sugar, same with leavening agent. So all three of these are just NPC items you can buy. So all you need is the wheat from your workers. You just follow the recipe here, put it all in, the ingredients on the cooking stand, and then just let your character cook to its heart's content. So that's going to be keeping your workers fed. That way they keep pulling in more things, and eventually it's going to be a snowball effect. You're going to get a huge amount of beer, and you'll be using less than you actually bring in over time because your workers are going to level up. Plus the gathering and the cooking of your character itself is going to level up as well, so it's going to be more efficient. Now the other big recipe is going to be the good feed, because if you don't craft this, you're going to be spending a lot of silver on the market buying it, and it's always sold out. Good feed's the easiest to make in my opinion, so that's what I make. You're going to need flour. You get it by grinding down potatoes or wheat or whatever. It's a grain. Grind it down, and that's what you get. That's a NPC item. Now this is why I wanted to invest in the fish nodes. and you're going to have to butcher animals with a meat cleaver, or a butchering knife, as Black Desert calls it. And you'll get meat from that, and that's going to be the other big energy sink. So you're going to have to prioritize between rough stone, logs, and meat, and cycle the 3, whatever you need. But you got to keep them coming in. Use your energy on cooldown. As soon as it's back, use it. Keep those resources flowing in. But just follow the recipe. If you invest in the fish nodes, 2 dried equals 1 normal, so the dried ones you just double up on. Instead of 1 you put in 2. And it's the same with it doesn't have to be pork. You can substitute. It's just, I look at these as meat, flour, water, fish. So dried fish is double. 2 dried equals 1 fresh. That being said, you can fish the fish and then dry them using the L, and that will also count. Or you can just fish them and use it, but it's more expensive and it's easier if you just have your workers do it if you have the contribution set up already. But crafting this is going to, over time, as your cooking skill gets higher, you're going to get a better return on investment if you're cooking it yourself. Especially since you're having a chance to increase your income by your gathering level procs, you're going to get more. Your processing procs, as far as like the rough stone and the logs go, when you're chopping it down, you proc to get more. And as well as the cooking, your procs, your mastery comes into effect then too, and your cooking level. So you have a chance to increase your income on that. So you got a bunch of different levels where you're increasing. So you're not, the value of the initial ingredient, you may take more of the initial ingredient versus what you're getting back, but over time you're going to get back a whole lot more. Which is why this snowball effect works so well, at least in my opinion. I was doing fishing before, but you just come over here, hit drawing, put it in there, hit start, and let it go. I don't really want to do that for 12,000 silver fish. I have more dried fish than I know what to do with, so I'll just sell these to the trader after this video. But to reiterate, start in Velia, get your workers up. Now, that's one thing that I didn't talk about. Find the worker exchange. He's called the work supervisor. There's one in every city. Velia has one. Just walk over, talk to them. You can either buy workers off the worker exchange if they're listed here, which I sold one recently, so I'm going to collect. None here, so you just hit contract worker, you spend some energy. White's not good. You can view continuously until you get a professional. And it'll just go. It'll use 5 energy up. It'll use all your energy. But if you're lucky, you'll get at least a professional, and there you go. Then you just hit hire. Yes. And he hires it in the city that it's in. So that's how you get your workers. I wanted to touch on that briefly because I forgot to actively do that. So, reiterate before I end this off. Invest in the grain nodes around Velia. Invest in the 2 iron nodes. Get some worker lodging. Either invest in the workshop in the middle of Velia, or invest in a workshop here if you have the extra CP to do so. Get 1 fishing node, probably in Portaferia. You're going to have to run the fish back and forth, but if you can get out there and get one of these drying racks, it'll be beneficial. If not, you can also do it in Velia. That way you got grain, iron, and fish coming in. And then the other thing you need to do is actively gather rough stone, logs, and meat. Increase your knowledge anytime you can because you'll get more energy. And then you're going to spend time cooking. You got to craft the utensils, set up in your house because you're going to need a residence. But at this point, I kind of assumed you've already spent CP into a residence. If not, you just pick one of these that says residence and buy it, and then you can set your cooking utensils down in there and use it. And then you just put the ingredients you need in your inventory and you just cook away. The idea is to stockpile as much beer and good feed as you possibly can while stockpiling resources for doing both of those. I will do a featured video for intermediate and what to move on to after you've stockpiled a good amount. Like I said, I have 750,000 beer. Plus I have grilled bird meat that also feeds workers. I got another 300,000 to 400,000 on that. I'm sure there's other people that have more, but for me, that's plenty. And I'm sure you can get by with less if you have less workers than I do. So if you've made it this far, thanks for spending your time with me and watching, and I hope you learned something if you're new to the game. And I will see you in the next video. You know, give me a like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And look out for the next one because another guide is coming. Next video is going to be about mastery and gear to increase the mastery. Alright, thanks so much for watching. Until next time.